How
a piece of paper. I had one in my pocket.
Nice. And then just grab them, and then you'll bring them out.
Yep.
And don't worry about the barking.
Come on, Chowder.
Yep.
Come on, dude.
There you go.
Jump down things twice this high. You too, Rick. Oop, that won't work. Hey. Sorry, that was a reflex. Pulling it.
And then we'll just walk to the back.
Look at this guy not pulling.
I know. And so today we're going to do a little bit different, where we're going to have a little more dogs just come out at once. And so you can drop the leashes. You can just drop them. Just let go of them, and we'll take them off here in a minute. And then we're going to just open this up and
It's like, hey, I'm peeing, man. Yeah, this is like a typical dog park.
yeah, exactly. And so then we start working different angles, you know, applying different kinds of stress to them, because ultimately life has stress in it. And, and a lot of times people they're trying to avoid the stress, and it doesn't really prepare you for real life. We gotta get in it. So we're gonna step out into the grass area, and then yeah, keep an eye out for some poop. I have to go through and pick it up, but just casually kind of keep moving around today, and then just let them be. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a problem for you, but yeah, just casually walk around, and we'll just see how things unfold. Yeah, exactly. So overall, how do you feel like things are going?
Good. I took a picture. They were like, they're knowing their place more.
Nice.
And started on the sleeping part.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
Yeah.
stay there, and like, you know.
Yeah. and that's where once they start sneaking back up, that's where I discipline them.
Yeah,
and so
the problem is, it's like if it's 2 in the morning and I'm dead asleep.
yeah, I get it. Like, I totally get it. This is where.
What do you think he's doing there? He's like,
yeah, he's trying to figure out where he fits in. We're looking at.
That's really good.
We're looking at letting it be right now, because he's having his say.
That's really cool that he just like, oh, they're playing. I'm in.
Yeah, but he sees it at what it actually is. He's saying, oh, these dogs are trying to challenge each other. I'm going to come over and let them know who I am. Okay. He's saying, I'm more dominant than you. I'm going to tell you, knock it off. See, watch. He's going to go try to stop. He'll probably try to stop her
his
again.
Dominant personality is starting to eke out.
Yeah, and this is why we have to see, you know, that the play isn't just play.
Yeah.
And then we have to see what they're really doing, because if we don't, we're not going to understand when we should step in or when we should allow something. And so this is why I say that this is a social game we play with our dog. We have to be understanding.
The same thing at Riverbend Dog Park, and the biggest dogs, and people are just laughing.
Yeah.
He just be like, you know, like, hey, I'm small, but you know.
And this is why it's not necessarily always about the physical strength. A lot has to do with the dog's mental strength, emotional strength. But this is why I have them out here, because I want the energy, I want the engagement, whether it be something that I don't like or whether it be something I like. Either way is fine by me. I just want these opportunities to for him to open up, and also for him to learn what we don't like and what's not acceptable, and how to judge that level that he goes to.
Yeah.
And that's what we were seeing, is that he, compared to when he first met Cora, he had a lot more regulation on how much he was giving it there, you know?
Yeah. And he's still unsure of himself, too.
Yeah. And okay, here we go again. So this is where we'll see if he wants to come running back over to say something to them or not.
He might be thinking of camping there.
Yeah, he probably is. Here we go.
Oh god, that reminds
And-
me of Scratch. Although Scratch didn't bark.
Yeah.
Over here, the
And-
main Scratch.
Yeah. So, yeah, there we go. There we go.
TC9 area
Nice.
code, not
So-
a chance that's a legit call. That's weird. This is
But
really
you see how he kind of went into that play bow, you know? This is where it's going well. But it can look like this is sometimes what can make us as people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so if we're uncomfortable, we're unsure, we're feeling like will he be able to listen? Never be afraid to go and stop that.
Yeah.
Ever. But right now it's going really well, and I want him
Yeah.
to be engaging like this, so we're not going to be saying anything to him. And this is where, you know, Sticks might try to come and get involved to try to tell Chowder who he is. And this is where then how does he handle a dog coming and trying to tell him who they are?
What he used to do to Carol at the beginning of the program.
Yeah. And this is why, like, the socialization will help him balance out, and because some dogs they're not gonna put up with that.
What's he trying to communicate to her?
He wants her to, like, he's like, come on, let's go. Like, that's what I think. I think he's like
Yeah, that's what
trying to
it
get her to go, you know.
Yeah, that's it.
And so you see how she's kind of holding her ground, but she's not
Hey,
she's
you
not
haven't done this before.
yeah. But she then comes and follows, right?
Yeah.
So she's wanting she's wanting the engagement.
Oh, you're recording that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Can't wait to
Yeah,
show this to Carol.
exactly.
Look at how this-
Yeah.
So she gets
So he's starting to kind of grab onto her a bit.
look at me, man. Yes, Dad's pleased. Oh, he's getting involved now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because see, it's because of how Chowder's showing up. It's this is why everybody's coming. They want to kind of come and have their say in this, because they're always trying to figure out where they're trying to figure out where they fit in. And so this can lead to an altercation, and that's why it's so important. And so I'm kind of waiting for that moment, that opportunity to come in to say what I don't like. Hey! Like that. You know. And
it's funny because you can't, you know, usually try to, you know, tails up or something. You can't tell with him.
Yeah, you can a little bit, like when you like right now it looks to me like he's carrying it fairly neutral. It's not. Yeah. See.
She's being very
and
sort of like teasy submissive.
Yeah, and so he gives it a lot, you know, and there's going to be dogs that aren't going to put up with that shit.
No.
And because he's acting like that, some dogs aren't going to like that he's acting like that and come to go try to put him in his place, and then he might then push back on them, which then can spark that altercation because one has an agenda to say you need to knock it off, the other one says no, I'm not knocking it off. and so, but this is how it has to be done. But most people they're staying too much, they're maintaining too much control. And there's a degree of like, yes, like to build up your confidence, you're going to control things as you move through your fear and you lean into things more. But in order to really start to get more trust from the dogs and better understanding, we kind of have to give up some of that control and trust that they're gonna, they can handle things too, you know. It doesn't all have to come down onto
Ricky was
us.
just sort of watching.
Yeah, and then he kind of started, I think, leaving because he kept coming around when he was around and kind of, you know, dominating and disciplining him a bit, and so he thought, you know, maybe it's in my best interest to just walk out of here.
What is this guy? Is this guy just like, I'm not really into all this?
Oh no, he gets involved, but sometimes it can be too much for him. It's too intense.
Sensory overload.
It's just too intense. He's not. He doesn't necessarily like he can warm up with the dog and then he can start playing a little bit more rough. But when it's new, he's a little bit more cautious.
At a glance, like people would say, just he's the perfect dog.
Oh no, he's an ideal dog for the average owner. You know, the worst he's gonna get is like jumping up on people and being a little over the top excited, you know.
Yeah, but before he came to you, he was just Mr. Obnoxious.
I mean, just not really listening, climbing up on top of people, and you know, I think he's a dog that they say, you know, the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top, you know. I don't.
He's not the sharpest
exactly. He's not super bright. It's like a lot of dogs, if I call them if I'm at the gate over here and I call them and they're over here, they'll come out and go through the gate. He will just go straight towards me and then he'll be like, I can't get to you, you know. That's just one example. But yeah.
Being dumb and happy, there's something to say about that.
Yeah. But this is what I was hoping was going to happen today, was getting him a little bit more engaged. Because we saw that he had wanted to engage with this girl a bit last week.
Yeah,
and so
adorable.
So I thought this will be good to have her out. We'll put some of the other players out here. But yeah, you can tell he likes to use his mouth a lot.
Yeah.
And
it's just nice to see him run free, you know, because it's such a
and engaging with other dogs outside of your crew, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, we haven't been able to let him run. You know, it's sad.
Yeah.
Because he was so. I mean, he was crazy. I mean, he was so like he'd go into such. It was like something would take over. You know, he'd be like. You know, all that, what do you call it?
You see Sticks is watching, so like I know that he's waiting for a moment to come get involved in this. Okay, like you see how his ears are, how he's looking at this situation, and so I know I know that this is a potential thing that he could come in and get involved, and he's kind of assessing and looking for his opportunity, just kind of like what I'm doing here. sitting back, watching, waiting for an opportunity to come voice my opinion. That's what Styx is looking at. But yeah, Chowder's, he's a rough one. And
Scratch, when he was a pup, used to play more like that, but
yeah,
with less barking.
yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how he shifts. Some dogs start off real intense like this, and then they really start to have many gears other than just Mach 10.
Exactly.
But we're seeing that he's then being smelled and
Nice block.
yeah, and then Cora might come in might want to come and try to then start, you know, looking to try to control things. Cora likes to
Was that deliberate,
control.
or was that just
Oh yeah,
accidental?
no.
Okay,
She's
so
definitely deliberate on it.
Nice.
Yeah, she likes to control. Cora loves controlling. She also likes to climb. Like, she wants to climb the hierarchy ladder. She pushes dogs and tests them, and
She was one of the first dogs he interacted with.
it was the
right?
very first.
The very first.
Hmm. Yeah, and so the relationship continually shifting
Yeah,
and evolving, you know.
Exactly.
But no, this is great.
Yeah, you're getting out of shape, buddy. You're popping like crazy.
Yeah, he's like, wow. He's like, you know, I haven't really had the opportunity to do this before.
Yeah, because I mean, he did, like I said, he got really engaged and he was really good at the dog park when he was a relatively young pup.
Yep.
And then, you know.
And then he got sick or hurt or something like that.
We live southwest, and there's fucking rains of pine cones in our.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
He's
yeah.
like you said, he likes to use his mouth,
Yeah.
so he loves pine cones, and
Yeah.
he got one of those things that it cut,
Yeah.
and he looked like a frog.
Oh wow.
Like the saliva would collect,
Yeah.
so they had to go in there and make sure it drained.
Yeah.
And
And that's why, you know, one of the reasons, like, yeah, dogs like to pick up things. They like to chew things. They do that stuff. But this is why the toys and the games, like, we feed that and we make it neurotic.
Yeah.
And so.
And we're trying to give him like, here, don't do a pine cone.
Yeah,
Here,
do this
take
instead.
thing.
Yeah, redirecting them into something else. But yeah, that's common. But look at him now. You know, he's like, man, I'm really doing this thing.
Yeah.
You can see that he's feeling a little bit more relaxed because of what he's just been able to do.
She's such a good girl.
And you know, she's coming over to
Don't
see
go
if
your head. I was just
she
commenting.
wants to see if she can get him going again.
It's so funny.
And so she's like, "How do you like it?
tired.
I'll
I'm
give it.
tired.
I'm gonna give it back to you. You know."
Tired. You're
Yeah.
in better shape than me.
And so he just comes and moves behind you, which is it's good to see. And then it looks like we're gonna see him get back on it. But say he starts to show that he's just not interested and she's not getting the point. This is when I can step in and tell her knock it off. So then I'm showing him who I am. I can protect you.
Yeah.
But there's a degree of, like, allowing sometimes dogs to be kind of bullied a bit
Yeah.
to learn how to deal with that and where do they go, and then we can learn when we need to step in and when we shouldn't. But for me, I want dogs to become more resilient.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
and some people, they're too soft and sensitive about these things that they actually make the dog just become worse.
I saw it in real time at the dog park because Scratch used to love to run around. He was like Chowder at maybe 3/4, but he loved to sprint. He loved to do that. And other people were like, they're playing too rough. It's like,
And that's where some people, they feel that way. And so when I'm in a situation like that and they're saying they're playing too rough, I'll come in and I'll put a stop to it.
Yeah.
And so that people can see, hey, I understand where you're coming from
I
too,
would
but
respect their
yeah,
feelings
I'm
and, like,
sure. But that's where I might have it in mind. knowledge of saying they're fine, and then I might stop it and say, you know, I think they were having a pretty good time. It seemed like they were both enjoying it. But we can stop it, which is good. So, you know, let me know when you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable again, and I'll step in.
Exactly.
You know, but I try to move things to where everybody's starting to feel heard and understood. But no, I'm loving it. I'm loving what's going on, and he need they both do, but he really needs this over and over and over again. And then that resilience is just it's gonna build, and then we'll know what he can take, what he can't take, right? Which then is so much easier to navigate the world, because we truly know him, instead of where it's common that, say, a dog's acting pretty aggressive on leash, for example. Not saying that it was with him, but like they'll be really aggressive, and people will be really afraid to put them with dogs. But once you actually do, they're fine.
That was my next. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've come across people, and they've had to, you know, do their dog. I'm like, does your dog have leash aggression too? She's like, She goes, I can let her run around with other dogs at the dog park as soon as I get a leash on her.
And that's
just changed.
And this is where we have to shift how the dog is thinking and feeling, and create territorial boundaries. See, they're using the leash to control, and that physical type control like that, it's the dog's mind and how they feel is like, I want to get to that dog and see what's up with that dog. But they can't, so they're trapped. It becomes an obstacle. And then that particular dog then gets more stressed and frustrated, and then that aggression comes out. It's just like with us. You know, for me, when there's an obstacle in my way and what I want to do, it can be really annoying for me. And so what often happens is, people just they're staying in this, like, I'm gonna pull back, and then the dog's pulling forward, and it just escalates their stress levels, where we need to make them feel like they don't want to go over there. And so I produce a consequence that makes them go, no, never mind. And so I'll ask people, I'll say, so when they're at the dog park, do they just like see a dog and run up on them? And they go, oh yeah. And so you see that problem's happening at the dog park, where they just see a dog and they take off at them. And then when they put them on leash, the dog has the same mentality, but now they're trapped. So I can even address it at the dog park. When they're just seeing a dog and wanting to take off, I can now have a conversation with them and get them to feel like maybe running up on dogs isn't the best approach. And then we still go to them and socialize. I had a little dog years ago who I had tried for months to get her to walk well on the leash. And it was like, we just constantly just like fighting it. And so then instead I just started going to the dog park and doing exactly this. And instead of taking her for a walk, I just go to the dog park. I saw that she would run up on dogs. And then eventually I started saying that's not acceptable, but then we would go to them still and people. And then she would socialize with them. And I did that for months. Then when I went back to the leash, she had no problems. It was perfectly fine. And so sometimes we have to do the very thing that's so scary in order to get to where we want. Because a lot of people would be like, I can't go in there. Like, look at how she is on leash. And she did still have some attitude when she would get to the dogs and people, but that's where I then have those conversations and we socialize. So this is why I want to do with Chowder here, where we're socializing, and then before we get to really the on leash kind of walking that we would do in your neighborhood or at the old mill, we take them to good dog. So we start here, then we go to, we'd actually probably start here, and then we would probably do the group class, the group meetup, where we meet up and we walk together and everything. So it's, and then we would end up going to good dog, and then we would go to hiking.
Carolyn's missed that place so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey honey, it's muddy right now, so it'll get there soon enough.
It wasn't too muddy I think it was last Sunday I went. It was still pretty muddy in spots, but nothing like it was when I went there, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was like, I'm really glad I wore my boots, because it's in town, it might not look that bad. And so one day I had wore these shoes out there, and I thought I wore the wrong thing. But no. So as far as this whole experience, any questions about it?
That was the main thing, is seeing that, and you answered my questions in real time.
Cool.
Because Scratch and Ricky, they'd see dogs playing, and it's like, I want to get in there.
Yeah, and that's what we saw, like this. So
I want to be a part of it.
Yeah, so then say we're out on a walk, and then they see a dog, and then now they want to run in to go get involved in that. Well, we're seeing the same kind of mentality here,
but
right?
now it's like a positive thing. Before it was like, I'm going to establish.
He's over the top, and now we're going to be doing this, and then he's going to learn, like, to judge that level that he goes to.
Sharp little guy.
Yeah, no, this is why, like, this is what he actually needs in order to. He's got to socialize, and then he has to then get the discipline from the other dogs, the discipline from us. And this is what is going to create a social dog. When we look at socializing a kid, it's really about them learning to get out and where those boundaries are, and how do they then respond to them. Some kids need a lot more pressure put on them. I see a lot of kids nowadays that they backtalk teachers and parents and authority figures, and they do wild things, and I just think this is where, back when I was being raised, that would immediately had been so severely disciplined that you would be thinking twice before. And then it sets you up really well in life, because then you go, who can I say this to and who can't I say it to?
Gavin, Ian, it's not so much our 28-year-old, but Gavin, he had mom's number. But we never had problems in school. I mean, we had problems in school because he was kind of a goofball.
Different personalities and stuff.
But he never disrespected teachers. He really, teachers were really fond of him. Know?
And that's why I just look at each personality. Some like, for me, I'm grateful that the right levels of discipline had been applied when I was younger, because I just imagine if it wasn't, I would be on a totally different path than I am now, and life would have been way harder. I would have had to learn these lessons versus people stepping in and when I was younger and kind of
I'm getting
helping
so much,
me.
Eddie, you were right this whole time. But even with our sons, I was the one that was like, hey, you gotta and she's like, I can't take the stress of you fighting with them. It's like, well, maybe if you just
this is what's good, because then what happens is the more you guys can come in sync, and be a team, it's way better. But that was I think the major driving force of where a lot of issues were coming up, was there was you were wanting to kind of be more of a disciplinarian. She's going, I don't think that's good. We should be thinking about nurturing them. And I'm saying, let's blend those things together, and then it just calms everything down, because now it's like we can set boundaries, we can have that discipline, and then we see how this is ultimately going to be more nurturing, and it opens their life up, and it's actually way kinder to tell them the truth, and instead of every day there's conflict about, I'm trying to sit down and do some work and I can't do it. Right?
And I would sit down, they'd come up and they'd just go to sleep right next to me.
And that's,
they would
that's
be like,
and that's normal.
Even she goes, okay, she goes, I loved him up a little bit. I said, well, did you call him and did you watch him? She goes, no. And as soon as she did it, he was like, Bart, Mom, I got you back. She goes, tell Scott that.
And this is why, it's really common for me to see where, like, the dog acts one way with one partner over the other, and then you look, it's a relationship, and it's either
Yeah, what I
Yeah.
meant to say, I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off.
no,
but,
no problem.
Like this is like role play. If I put the leash on him,
yeah,
and what I would do is give him little pops, either if he was wearing his pinch collar or not.
Yeah.
Just a gentle, like, nope.
Yeah.
He'd respond better to my nopes. You know, like he's like this, nope, and he's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay, okay. You know, but I could tell he wasn't. It was like he was just minding my commands, and he wasn't comfortable. He wasn't.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
it's like
this
he's
this
still
this is
freaking out.
yeah. Well, this is where I look at it as it's not something that's completely reaching him. He kind of goes, and he still kind of feels like I can kind of push back.
Yeah.
And
And I used to go
they're
back
stubborn.
and forth along the.
All right, so we're gonna introduce some more dogs into the mix here, and people always are like, "Why is there so many dogs on muzzle?" It's for safety. I'm working with dogs in a completely different way than most people are used to, and I'm also learning and growing. So some of these dogs would be fine without the muzzles on, I'm sure. But I want to make sure I really know. And so I don't know everything. And then some things I know what can take place. I know where things could go. But we're learning to move through different things and learn to handle things and move dogs through different things. There's a lot of different personalities, not a lot of different things going on here. But the muzzles are a safety tool. They're beautiful. But people get so wrapped up, some people, I should say, get so wrapped up on, the muzzles, like, whatever. So I'm going to put the muzzle back on this guy here. A lot of times I find that people like to put these on way too loose. And we don't want that. So I'll be right back. All right, so we have Chowder and Ricky out here, but Sticks is out here, and Bash and Sticks have had some friction. So we're going to be watching them, and so here we go. I'm guessing Ricky and Chowder are in the bus, but let everyone go to the bathroom. Like I said, Sticks and this guy have had some friction, and they're kind of moving through, working out their issues. All right, so Archer's headed towards the bus. I'm going to move towards the bus, see if I can't get some of these dogs to come with. I'm not calling them or anything, just me going here. Yep, here they are. It feels nice in here. Have the heater going. Ricky's venturing out now. So we'll follow the adventures of Ricky. I don't know if... Yeah, Tinley has met them before. That's right. I think Ricky just realized, wait a minute, where's Chowder? Alright, so Tenley and Chowder, it looked like his hackles were a little bit up. Bash was checking him out too. I'm gonna have to transfer over some videos to my flash drive. Archer's been very interested in this guy. Ricky, don't be trying to squeeze through the fence. There's just a little hole. I don't know if he was really looking to leave, but definitely checking it out. Chowder's going back to the bus. This must be, he's used to this, huh? You pull up a chair and he goes, oh, time to go and climb on you. So I'm gonna look at standing up here on his next lap, and we're gonna see how he feels about me coming into the picture. He's showing off. Look at who I am. Look at my speed. Look at my determination. And so we want to be seeing that, because this is where things can tip over into a real fight. All right, so let's see him voicing his opinion. Let's see how Cora's entered into the chat. She's going to look to try to control him. Chez is coming out. Nice. Little Ricky's coming out. Gonna fill up this water for them, even though there's water around the corner. All right. bone. All right, so I'm gonna move into this and see how he feels about me. All right, so see how he's. So I'm gonna. Exactly. He needs to be able to feel me, hear me. He needs to know who I am in all of this. That ultimately, I'm the neck that turns the head. All right, so we're gonna let everyone come in. Come on, Ricky. Sequoia. Archer, Sequoia, come on. Ricky. Chowder. Chowder. Hey, Chowder. Come on. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, Ricky. Little Ricky. Come on. Come on. Archer. 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 Get caught. Yeah. Ricky, we're gonna need to put a little leash on him probably. Kind of help him. Kind of hold his hand a bit. Ricky. I'm gonna put Ricky. He's gonna go back to the bus. That's fine. That's fine. Come on, Ricky. Come on, Ricky. Come on. Ricky, come on. There we go. Nice. Come on, Ricky. All right. Nice. Cesar, you look like you need to be brushed. You're blowing your coat. What do you got on your face? Is that... All right. All right, so been talking with my friend Audrey, and the dogs have been resting, but we're gonna step outside and have another little go around here. See if little Ricky ends up coming out. The sun is no longer out, which is a bummer. I'm going to Step inside the bus. But we got little Chowder. I call him Mr. Chowder. Mr. Chowder. Got Mr. Chowder. Little Ricky is, I think, still just hanging out in the bedroom as of right now. Not seeing him. Ricky. I'm trying to get Ricky to come join in here. Ricky. Come here, Ricky. Ricky. Come here. Ricky. Oh. Chowder. Chowder. Here he comes. Chowder, come here. Chowder. Yeah. See how he wants. Gets more jealous. Sequoia. I know, Sequoia. Oh. Hey, hey. Shh. Hey. 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 Chowder. Come here. Come here, Chowder. Come here. Chowder. Ivy. Let's see if he does this to Ivy. Nope. Sticks. So I just had a conversation with my client. I actually should have been recording it. But I stood here with the door open and he's just been standing here. And Ricky, I think, is in the back room. Probably just chilling on this chair. Oh, he's up there. It's a pretty good jump. Oh, he might have jumped from the chair.